If you're getting that, I'm as much guilty for like just not even worrying about it, thinking that
Yeah, but
it's not going to do anything.
But I'm the one who put the wires there.
It doesn't matter. If you want to look at it that way, I'm guilty by association.
People placing the wires there. The problem is that. I killed him.
So I'm sitting there feeding the fish like I do on a Saturday morning, and all of a sudden I realise I haven't seen Garbo. He's a pretty quiet fish, but I can usually find him somewhere. He's jammed himself up behind the filter or sitting feeding behind a rock where we can't see him, and he was kind of like that. He was a quiet sort of a fish, and he sort of just did his own thing. But I can't find him anywhere. So I look closer and I move around and I take a different angle and I'm looking for him. And all of a sudden I see like a little skeleton like in between two rocks. I'm thinking that can't be him surely. But then I see this like meaty section of the tail and I'm like, no. Right? So I look a little closer and realise that's Garbo.
I'm pretty devastated, really, that Garbo is dead. Because for all the fishes in the tank, I never thought that he would be the one to go first. I mean, he's always so active. Perhaps we take him for granted because, he's just so amiable a fish. He's not a moody fish. He's amiable and he's active. He's everywhere. One minute you'll see him on the top right, then on the bottom left, and then the top left, the bottom right. It's just everywhere. A minute you'll see him on the leaf feeding off the algae. Next minute he's on the rock feeding off the rock. And I think the rock was his undoing. Perhaps I murdered him. Maybe I did.
I reckon he's got stuck. I reckon he's been like feeding on the rock or something, and he's wriggled as he's feeding, got himself stuck in the rock, and then couldn't get out. So he's obviously been struggling to get out, and he's trapped in this fishing line, and must have like died, just wriggled until he either drowned or starved to death, and we never saw him.
I was the one who used some wire to tie around that rock to place a plant in it. I was trying to hold down the plant for the aquarium, so I used some plastic wires, some thin plastic wires to hold down the plant. And poor Garbo, what happened was this, the fishes ate the roots of the plant, and the plant just floated up out of those plastic wire. And that was when Garbo went in to feed off the rock and got himself entangled in those wires, and I think he didn't know how to wriggle himself out because because he's gotten fat already. He's gotten big and fat, and wasn't able to extricate himself out of the wires. So I think, without intending to, indirectly, I think I've murdered Garbo.
Like he's sitting behind a rock, possibly struggling away, and we can't see what's going on. So it wasn't until after he's dead, and when I saw him in his little skeleton, obviously once the fish dies, the other fish eat him. So we've got quite a few neon tetras in the tank, and they're kind of carnivorous little fish. So when there's a dead body in the tank, they eat him up. So when we found him, there was hardly anything left. I think there was just his lips.
He has been eaten. He has been eaten by his colleagues in the tank. I mean, his mates in the tank ate him. This is the opal stone, and this is the bit of wire that was stuck in. can see the bit of wire sticking out. Okay, you see it's quite a big fish. So I'm going to slowly take him and put him inside here. Inside. Put the little coffin. And I remember why we call him Garbo too, because Garbo is short for garbage collector, and we initially bought him to collect sort of like the algae, the rubbish in the fish tank, but over time we began to love him very much. Such a quaint little creature.
At first, we didn't think he was going to do a good job because it looked like he wasn't actually cleaning up the tank at all.
Yeah.
There was spots of algae and bits of green stuff everywhere, and it looked like he was doing something, but the algae was still growing. So it took a while for him to actually do what he was supposed to do. He obviously took a lot longer than we expected.
Good fish. It's a good fish. I think Bristol nose would be good, right, for algae?
Yeah, totally.
Totally?
Yeah, he does just as good a job as a pleco, he just
Okay.
it's a bit smaller.
All right. So we'll take a Bristol nose.
Okay, I'll get your bag. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's Keira. You know, she's been helping us. She's a real sweetie. She's been helping us with all the fishes and teaching us how to rear the fish so they won't die on us. But unfortunately, Pleco died. So now Keira has introduced another to replace Garbo. His name is Garbo actually.
Oh.
And it's actually a Bristol nose fish. Bristol nose. Yeah. This is our new fish now to replace Garbo.
Got it?
Cool.
Okay, cool. Got him. So now we're getting a new member of the family again. Placing for Garbo.
We're filming a memorial
Yeah,
video.